Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Kraken Packs video. I am your host, MrBevers. That's right, we're back again with another pre-release kit. This time we're doing Rakdos. We're going to talk about the dice as well, because I think the dice, if you remember correctly, the Orzhov die is kind of lackluster. It's blue for some reason. It's kind of blue with a black speckle and then white lettering, which is definitely not Orzhov. Like, I could see this being an Esper. It's a nice Esper die if you were going for Esper, but not really so much Orzhov. Like, it should just be plain black with white lettering, or it should have been like a black with a white speckle, or like a white with a black speckle and then black lettering, or something along those lines. Like, essentially, they could have done it like this. Like look at this. Like, this is an Aether Revolt die. This is a better Orzhov die, in my opinion, than the Orzhov die. And that's just, like... Anyway, the Rakdos die apparently is pretty decent. I haven't seen it yet, so let's get right into it and see what we find. And then we'll do a little bit of a build and a discussion about, you know, what looks good and what doesn't look good, and we'll go from there. So there's your Rakdos die. See, it's a nice black with like red speckles and then red lettering, which is accurate for Rakdos. That is a Rakdos die, right? There's no question about it. That is a Rakdos die. So we've got our Thopter token that has our code on the back. So we'll put that to the side. We'll put that to the side over here. I'm going to be doing some giveaways for the codes at some point. Whether it's going to be on a YouTube video or whether it'll be on a stream on Twitch or something. I don't know. But they are arena codes. Oh, look at that bad boy. How about a promo Rakdos? Nice promo mythic. We'll take it. We'll take it. My goodness. Who is what in the where now? People are pinging me on the things. Get out of here, stuff. I apologize for the interruptions. Alright. Okay. So we've got 5 packs. And we've got our booster pack that's the sealed pack. So we will open these up. Last time when I did this, I didn't, because I was like, I want to keep these in the sealed pack so that they're mint fresh. I was like, I kind of regret doing that now. I don't know why. I just feel like as long as I sleeve this as soon as I take it out of this pack, it'll still be pack fresh. It's essentially the same idea. And then we can at least get a more accurate idea of the builds, because I didn't realize when I did it the first time that all the cards in here are random still. Right, so like you get a pre-sealed pack, but not everybody who gets that kit is going to necessarily get all the same cards in this pack. So like you might get this type of uncommon, and that guy gets a different uncommon, and you know this person over there gets a different uncommon. Like there's the possibility of getting a completely different sealed pack of cards from the specific guild pack. So anyway, let's get into this nonsense here, which is. Put you down there. How are we doing here? Let's turn this way so that we can fit these cards on the table a little bit better. All right, so we've got a little bit of everything here. Okay, so we've got a Death Touch guy and a removal spell in black already, and then the red one is kind of mediocre. It's not great for Rakdos. But I mean, actually, maybe it's not, because it does the damage, and that turns on your whatever that thing is, the Revel or whatever. Titanic Brawl and Stony Strength, they're pretty decent in green. Mistrant of Obligation, pretty good. The Combined Guild Mage. Wilderness Reclamation. Spectacle is what I'm talking about. So we opened up a pretty nice rare here for Rakdos. So there you go, a little 2/2 for 2. But if you pay the 4 cost, you discard your hand and then draw 3. So if you play this as your last card, you can draw 3 cards with it. And it's it enters the battlefield. You can pay the Spectacle cost only if they've lost life this turn, which is where this guy comes in, because he can ping even if you can't swing in, right? So you could ping him for 1 and then be able to cast your Spectacle, which is pretty nice. So we'll put our rares down here for now, so keep track of them. Then we got a Simic Guildgate, which I guess we'll just put over here. Actually, let's put Rakdos over here. That seems good because he's in a pack technically, and then our token is just a goblin, which maybe we'll use in Rakdos. Maybe we won't. Who knows? Okay, Scorchmark is nice. Pretty good removal spell in white there. Act of Treason is fine. We got a Gruul Guild Mage. Okay, and we got a Stomping Ground as our rare. Okay. And another Gruul Guildgate. Okay. So, I mean, we could be looking at playing, like... I guess we could be looking at green, black, red, maybe? I was going to say, like, our Orzhov doesn't look terrible. Like, our white doesn't look terrible. Our white looks pretty strong, actually. I mean, we have 2 ill-gotten gains, too. Wow. Wow, and then another... Our white-black is very strong. Gate Colossus. This card is just good in pretty much any deck. Cry of the Carnarium, and then we got an Absorb. Which is fine, but it's not, like, really what we're looking at. We're probably not playing blue. I should say we're most likely not playing blue. Okay, another one of these. Scorchmark, another Scorchmark is good. That doesn't seem like a playable. A second Law Mage's Binding is pretty decent. A Rakdos Locket, which is nice. Gateway Sneak, nothing exciting there. This guy, kind of meh. Whenever a creature you control with power 1 or less attacks, it deals 1 damage. That's interesting. Holy moly, we got a Hero Precinct one? My goodness. Alright. And then just a Sphinx. Sorry, I put this in the wrong pile. Yeah, our white-black is looking very strong. So like, and look at our piles too, right? Like, we've opened 4 packs. We haven't opened a single red-black card except for the Rixmati Reveler, which is technically only red, but it is red-black for its spectacle cost. So, I mean, like, we will see, I guess. It's looking pretty strong as if we're going to be in white-black. Another Ill-Gotten Gains, my goodness. And another Law Mage's Binding. Holy moly. Another Imperious Oil Arc. Wow. Good old Gates Ablaze. And we got a Growth Chamber Guardian, which is not really something we were looking for this deck for that late. And then we got a foil Feral Maka with an Orzhov Guildgate and a zombie. So, the interesting thing here is this pack is going to be mostly red-black cards. But, like, we haven't opened any red-black at all. Let me just put Rakdos into a sleeve here. Get him sleeved up so that he's pack fresh forever. There he is. So, like, that's our first black-red card. We've got a Drill Bit, and there you go. We got a Hackrobat. Skewers, very good. Crocodile, meh. Burn Bright. Shade. And a Rakdos Guildgate. Okay, we're taking blue out for sure. Blue is not even on the table, especially since we don't have. We have one of each Guildgate, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have one of each Guildgate and 2 Rakdos Guildgates. So 2 Rakdos Guildgates is good for us, so that we can play our red-black stuff. And then I think we're gonna play the Orzhov Guildgate. And I don't know whether we're going to play the... I don't know if we're going to play the green one or not, but let's see. So let's look at our green. I think we have 2 of these guys. They're very good. Titanic Brawl is also just a good removal spell. Our green is, like, not super strong. Like, the Biogenic Upgrade is a sweet card, if you can play it late game. But, like, I don't think our green is, like, specifically strong enough to warrant going into green. Like, the Growth Chamber Guardian is a good card, but we don't have anything to fetch with him. So it's kind of like me, right? I mean, yeah, he's a 4/4 for 5, which is not terrible. And I mean, he can be a 4/4 on turn 3, which is very good. But that means you have to have your green mana on turn 2, which if green is our splash, it's not going to be not probably going to happen. And then because this is double green, chances of that happening are very slim as well. So like, I think our green and our blue is probably out, would be my guess. So then like we take out these, we can keep these because if we play red, this is still a playable card, right? We technically have this Stomping Ground, which we're probably not going to end up playing because we don't really need green. We're not playing Absorb, I don't think. So let's see. These are our rares that we're probably not playing. Did we put another rare somewhere? We put another rare somewhere. There, this guy, the Ghost Chamber. Okay. All right, off to the side there with those. So I think... So here's the thing, is like 3 Law Mage's Bindings. These Law Mage's Bindings are very good. But like if we're not playing blue, I don't think we necessarily need them. We'll put them to the side for now and see. We're definitely not playing the Sphinx because it's double blue. And we're not playing the Sphinx's Insight, I don't think. Because I don't think we're going to be splashing... I don't think we're going to be running 4 colors. Let's put it that way. 3 colors I could see. Because I mean... Playable, 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 playable. We have 6 playable Orzhov cards that will all trigger Hero Precinct 1, which gives us 1/1s to sack for like Final Payment and for Pointiff, right? Which is pretty nice. Then we have this guy, which is fine. I don't particularly like this guy, but the Hackrobat is fine, for sure. It's a nice 2/3 for 3. Let's check out our red. So, Burn Bright is fine. I don't think it's something I want to necessarily play, depending on what else I've got going on. Okay, Rumbling Ruin is more meant for, like, the Gruul deck, because you're going to have 1/1 counters on things, so then they can't block. We don't right now. We don't have anything that's going to put 1/1 counters on it, so this guy's just a 6/6 for 6, which is still good. It's a good top end, but you don't want to play it in if you don't need to. Like, we would rather have Rakdos as our 6-drop, right? Because it's a 6/6 flyer with Trample, right? Pharaoh Maka is just a fine 2-drop. It's not amazing. Gates Ablaze is a hilarious card. We probably don't want to play it in this deck just because we only have 3 gates, and the chances of having all 3 gates out to use Gates Ablaze to do 3 damage to everything, we're going to end up murdering our board as well as our opponent's board. So probably not super interesting. Active Treason is probably fine. Okay, so Cavalcade of Calamity is actually interesting because if we're going to go Orzhov with the red splash, which is probably what we're doing, this is good because all of our little 1/1 tokens that we have then trigger this. So this is not terrible. Rubble Reading is not super interesting. Scorch Mark is good. Active Treason is fine, but I don't think we want to run too many. We'll run 2 Scorches for sure. So like, as you can see, like our red, we have a lot of red cards, but they're just like not super interesting, right? Like, we probably run a Rumble Ruin just because it's a 6/6 for 6. And having 2 6/6s for 6 is probably fine. And then maybe you run 1 Active Treason just to keep the aggro on, right? But let's see. So let's look at our black now. Juggler is fine. Thirsting Shade, I'm not sure how I feel about that in like a Rakdos type deck. It triggers our Cavalcade, which is fine. Guridon is fine. Catacomb Crocodile is... I think this is a sideboard card. I think you sideboard this in if you come up against like Gruul or Simic, because it's a 3/7, so it can block things. The Rakdos Trumpeter is definitely fine. Same with Drillbit. Clear the Stage is also fine. So an interesting thing here. We have 3 copies of Ill-Gotten Gains. I would play all 3 of these based on what I've been seeing recently. And the reason is because if you have 2 of these in play, you're pinging your opponent for a 4-point life swing every turn. Because they lose a life and you gain a life. So you gain 2 and they lose 2. So it's a 4-point life swing every turn if you have 2 of these in play. If you have 3 of these in play, 6 points. Right? This card seems way better than I gave it credit for the last time when I did the last build. So I think I would probably play at least 2, if not all 3 of these, just because if we can kill our opponent by that, why not, right? Dead Revels, I think we run at least 1 of these for sure. Cry of the Canarium is fine as a board wipe if we need to. Another Rakdos Trumpeter is fine. Undercity Scavenger's fine. This is fine. This is fine. So, like, we have some pretty good black cards. Like, our black cards are mostly all playable. White, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. I'm not a huge fan of this guy. This is fine. This is fine. This is a sideboard card. This is fine. So, I mean, like, maybe we're not playing black-white. Maybe we're playing black-red. I think we're playing black-white, splash-red. I think that's what we're going for. So we put these off to the side. So let's take a look here. We're going to put all of our sideboard cards off to the side for the moment. We technically have these in red as well, which is not necessarily terrible. We have the Gate Colossus as well. We can't forget that guy, because he's definitely going to be in the deck, because an 8/8 for 8 is just a fine top end, especially if you can get him back from the graveyard just by playing a gate. And since we're running 3 gates, that seems doable. The lockets are a maybe, so we'll put them off to the side for now. The lockets are definitely good. It's just maybe not necessarily exactly what we want. So let's see. Let's see what our curve looks like, and then we'll decide what we're gonna cut. Just want to make sure we're still in shot here. Technically, that's a 4-drop, so I'm going to put it in the 4-drop slot. That's a 6-drop. That's a 3-drop, 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 2-drop, 3-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, 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 5-drop, 3-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop. There's our only 1-drop. 5-drop, but technically 3. We would want that to be a 3-drop. 6. This is technically a 1, and that's where we would want it. And then we'll put this guy over here. So we have to do a lot of cuts, obviously. So it's just a matter of what we want to do. I think we want to try and play the long game with, like, sitting behind things and getting the ill-gotten inheritance out. And then just kind of, like, plink away at our opponent. So I think, like, 1 reach guy is probably fine. I don't think we play 2. Blade Juggler seems fine. Just because even if we play it as a 5-drop, it's our only 5-drop creature. It's a 3/2, but it draws us a card, so that's fine. I think we play 1 of these. Maybe you side 1 out, just so that you don't have to worry about it. I don't think you play both of these either. We definitely play this one. I think this is fine as well. And then this over this one. And then let's check out what's in here. Because what we want is... we definitely want ways to... we have to play all of these. Like, we have to play all of these. Like, that's just... so, like, maybe these Rakdos Trumpeters are just not good enough to make the deck. They are very good for a Rakdos deck, don't get me wrong. But I think we can't pass up playing 3 Oil Arcs that essentially are 2/1s with Vigilance that get in every turn if they don't want to block it, or they trade with a lot of things and then also just make a 1/1, so, like, they stick around. So you have ways to, like, sack them essentially to things like the Undercity Scavenger and the Pointiff. And then they also, all of these trigger the Hero Precinct one, which is what you want. And then they also all make additional creatures, which give the Impassioned Orator. Like, maybe the Pegasus is out for, like, one of these. But I think we need the Flyer early on just to block early Thopters and stuff. Or, like, block the early Flyers. So I think that's why we want that there. Now, we have a fair amount of removal, too, right? Because we have Final Payment, 2 Scorch Marks, 1 Skewer, 1 Grotesque Demise, 1 Cry of the Carnarium, and then we have a Clear the Stage. So we do have a good amount of removal as well, right? So like we're gonna have to cut a whole bunch of stuff here. It's like maybe we cut the Cavalcade because it's just not what we're trying to do. Let's see. That seems fine. That seems fine. Maybe we cut the Rumbling Ruin because we have the Gate Colossus. That seems fine as well. Because we want to get down to about, what, like 13 to 14 creatures and then have a bunch of spells as well, right? So what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. We have 21 creatures. Like, that's almost our entire deck is just creatures, so we need to cut some, right? So, like, I'm pretty sure we're going to end up cutting some of this stuff. Maybe it's the Orator just because it's a 2/2, and yeah, the life gain is good, but, like, I think our other 2-drops are just better than it. So maybe that guy gets cut. And then in the 3-drop, we're keeping this, we're keeping this. Maybe we're getting rid of that. We're keeping that. We're probably getting rid of that. We're probably keeping that. And we're probably keeping that if we can. Right? So that, and then maybe we're getting rid of the Thirsting Shade. Just because we're not really caring about being super aggressive early. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that puts us to 16 creatures. I think we want to play the Clear the Stage because it definitely is a very good removal spell for 5 mana. Instant speed as well, right? We're keeping Final Payment. We're taking out Active Treason. Maybe we're cutting 1 Ill-Gotten Gains. That gives us what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we had, what, 16 up here? So that puts us to 27. So we have to cut, like, 3 more cards to put 16 lands, but we probably want 17 lands, so we have to cut 4 more cards. So, like, we could take out the Cry of the Carinarium because it wipes most of our board, right? Like, it kills this, 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 it kills all of these things except for the Pegasus. And not only that, it exiles them. Which is an issue for us because we then don't get to trigger our Afterlife. So we definitely don't want the Cry of Carnarium in our deck, mainly because it basically wrecks our board. Now, if we come up against an Orzhov mirror match, we might sideboard it in because it's a good board wipe against them as well. So it's possible that we just bring it in against them. Because, like, see, like, so right now we have 3 dudes that make 1/1 flyers, 4 dudes that make 1/1 flyers. Yeah, so we have 4 dudes that make 1/1 flyers, which is pretty decent, and we have a way to get some of them back, which is nice. And then we have the Pitless Pontiff, which is like sack dudes to it and just keep cracking in. And we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards that will, 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards that will trigger the Hero Precinct one to make 1/1s that we can then sack as well, which is pretty nice. I think the idea here is that we get some early drops in that just kind of sit in front while we get our Ill-Gotten Gains online, or Ill-Gotten Inheritance online. I think that's what we're trying to do. So the Drill Bit might come out. Seems like a very good card. It's essentially better than like Grotesque Demise because it can get rid of something with 4 power, right? As opposed to something that only has 3 or less. The Scorch Marks are good, but maybe we take 1 out. Because, like, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Yeah, so we've got to cut 3 more cards still. I think we have to keep the Undercity Scavenger. It's possible that we get rid of the Rebel Slinger. It seems like a 2/3 with Reach seems pretty good, especially against Orzhov Mirror Match. But maybe you cut it just because our red is kind of more of a splash than anything else. Right? Because right now, what do we have for red? We have 1, 2, 3. Like this, let's put this in the 3-drop slot just because maybe we don't even get to do it in the 1. Right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 cards that require red. So red is definitely our splash, and we're definitely in like a white-black. I mean, It may be even that we just cut the red entirely and bring in the rest of our black and white that we've cut, right? Like we could bring back in the other ill-gotten inheritance. We could bring in our impassioned orator, a thirsting shade, right? And we cut the red entirely except for Rakdos and maybe the Rixmati, just because this is something that you're going to play on turn 4 where you have one red. You only need one red for it, right? And it doesn't prevent, it only removes 3, it removes 3 removal spells from us if we can remove all the red. And it only removes 2 creatures, because we're going to keep Rakdos because we can splash it easily with our guild gates, right? Because we have 2 Rakdos guild gates, yeah. So maybe that's what we do. Maybe that's just makes the deck a little more consistent. It's possible that that's the better plan. I don't like trying to I like to try and build the deck into what guild it's supposed to be when you get it, but at the same time you sometimes can't avoid going down the route of like building the deck based on the cards you draw. And the fact that we drew so many early Orzhov cards and some decent Orzhov removal spells, like I think we have to go for it and not avoid it, right? Which, you know, it kind of stinks because I would love to play the red stuff, but at the same time, maybe it's just more consistent if we go white-black entirely. We could play the 3rd copy of Ill-Gotten Gains, take out the Skewer. Like, what do we lose for removal? We lose 3 removal spells, but we still have 3. We have Final Payment, Grotesque Demise, and Clear the Stage. Technically, we have Drill Bit, so technically that's 4 removal spells. And then we also have a Death Touch creature, and then we have a whole bunch of, like, little rinky-dink dudes that sit in front of things, right? Maybe that's the play. Maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe you just... I think the Hackerbat is so good, though. Mainly because you can spectacle it out for 2 mana, and it can get Death Touch for 1 black, or it can get +2 +2 for red, which is pretty nice. But I think we keep the Rixmati. I think we have to keep the Rixmati Reveler. Like maybe you take out this. Like, is this the deck? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So yeah, you just cut like the Thirsting Shade. And there you go, 23 cards. And all we're splashing for is Rakdos and Rixmati Reveler, which I think is fine. Our 3-drops seem a little lackluster. Like, it's possible that we take out, like... I don't know. That's tough. Because, like, all we're losing here from the multicolor cards, too, for triggering Hero Precinct 1 is, like, a Hackerbat and a Rubble Slinger, maybe? Nothing else is multicolor. We could put in the... Yeah. Yeah, it's not really super useful. And then what did we have in this pile over here? Did we have anything that was better to put in? I don't think we did. No. No. I think that's what it comes down to, right? Like, and I mean, it's even possible that, like, maybe you just cut the red entirely. Like, you cut the Reveler and you cut the Showstopper and you go Esper. And you play some of your Law Mage's bindings and things. Because you do have some decent white-blue removal. That being said, our white-blue fixing is not nearly as good, though, because we only have 1 Azorius Guild Gate, and we have 2 Rakdos Guild Gates. I think this is the deck that I would play. This seems like the deck that I would play. It seems good. It doesn't have a very good matchup against Gruul or Simic. Well, specifically Gruul, because Gruul has a lot of trample things. And our stuff is all like little rinky-dink health things. So that's pretty bad for us. But at the same time, we have some decent Death Touch things, and we have some indestructible guys, and we have a fair amount of removal, and we have a lot of like ping you for life things. And then of course we've got the Gate Colossus and the Rakdos as like our top end like bombs. I think this is the deck I would play. So there you go, everybody. Let me know below in the comments what you think. Maybe we should have gone with blue-white or something instead. Or maybe we should have really gone into, like, maybe cutting the red burn spells is not the right plan. Like maybe the skewer should stay in just because it's a nice removal spell for 3, and like maybe you cut something else like the impassioned orator, right? And like you just splash that, right? Like maybe you do it this way and you keep the skewer in. I don't know. Skewer seems like a pretty good card. I mean, it's only a sorcery, but you can cast it for 1 red if you attack in for damage, right? And the idea is that we should be attacking in for some damage at some point. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I've been your host, MrBevers. This has been a Kraken Packs and discussion of a Rakdos pre-release kit. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, may your pulls ever be better.